Okay, welcome back. We are talking about relative pronouns, and we've been talking about different types of relative pronouns. The way we use relative pronouns in formal writing or the formal setting, and how it differs from conversational use. Okay, and we found in conversations that we often delete the relative pronoun that's acting as an object. Okay, and we saw that in the last. Oops, I spelled object wrong. That we often in the conversation we often delete relative pronouns that are acting as objects that are not doing the action. Okay, so this makes it very difficult, especially if English is not your first language, to identify relative pronouns and adjective clauses, because oftentimes a flag word, remember what we talked about, the flag word is not there anymore. It's easy to identify a relative pronoun if whom is used, because you know that's the start of an adjective clause, right? But if that is gone, sometimes it's difficult to remember it's a relative pronoun even though the flag word is missing. Okay, so we're going to take a look at that, and we're going to practice identifying relative pronouns even when they are not there. Okay, so remember, this is the difference between formal writing and conversational writing. Formal writing, we need to make sure our relative pronouns stay in place. We need to distinguish between who, whom, and that, and we've already talked about that. And we want to make sure we don't delete them in our writing, and we recognize them. Okay, so here's an example. The equipment you ordered last week has just arrived, and you can see that the equipment you ordered, equipment that you ordered. Okay, so we have to include the relative pronoun that. Okay, so that's what we're doing. We're just rewriting these and plugging in the correct pronoun. All right, so let's take a look here. There are, I think, several of them that you need to do. You need to do all 20 of them, and so we're going to do the first 5 together, or the first 4, maybe the first 5 together, and see where that takes us. All right, so let's go ahead and get rid of this and do these together. Okay, the Shakespearean characters we all know are either villains or lovers. Okay, so the Shakespearean characters we all know. Well, I know that characters is the antecedent, and I'm either going to use, because this is going to be formal writing, I'm either going to be using who or whom. It's talking about a person, and it's missing. So if it's missing, I already know it can't be who, all right, because we can't get rid of the subject. All right, that's going to be pretty easy. You cannot get rid of a subject relative pronoun. You can always get rid of the object, because it's talking about people. It's getting rid of the object. The object is gone. I just know I have to fill the object in. Okay, so the Shakespearean characters whom we all know are either villains or lovers. Why do I know it's that? Well, number one, it's deleted, so I know it has to be whom. But why is it whom? Because it's not, the characters are not doing the actions, are they? The Shakespearean characters whom we all know. Well, the characters don't know anybody. We know. Okay, so the characters are receiving. They're not doing the action. Okay, they're being talked about. So that's why we use whom. Okay, and of course we use whom because it's deleted already, and only objects can be deleted. Okay, I spelled object wrong again. Object. Only objects can be deleted. Okay, it says the police arrested the demonstrators they had photographed the year before. Well, demonstrators are people. So I already know that it's whom. The police arrested the demonstrators whom they had photographed the day before. Well, let's see why it's whom again. Okay, why is it whom? Are the demonstrators doing anything? The police arrested the demonstrators whom they had photographed. Who photographed? The police photographed, not the demonstrators. The demonstrators were photographed. The police are the ones that actually took the pictures. So because so whom is not doing anything, because whom refers to the demonstrators. They are being the ones being photographed. It is the object. Okay, it's not the subject. All right. Let's take a look at the next one. Oh, so whom. Okay. Let's take a look at the next one. He defeated every opponent at chess he had ever faced. He defeated every opponent. Well, opponents are people again, so I would use whom. Oh. He defeated every opponent at chess. Oh, I'm actually apologize. That's not correct. He defeated every opponent at chess. Chess is the antecedent, not opponent, because I have a prepositional phrase afterwards. Okay, he defeated every opponent at chess that he had faced. I have to use the word that because chess is not a person. Okay, so that he had faced. Okay, all the tourists we saw at the beach were badly sunburned. Okay, all the tourists we saw at the beach. All the tourists are people. We saw whom we saw at the beach were badly sunburned. Okay, so whom, because the tourists are not seeing anything. Okay, whom we saw, okay, at the beach were badly sunburned. Okay, so let's do one more together. We'll do 5 because there's 20 of them total. Number 5, the planets they discussed during the lecture all orbited distant suns. The planets they discussed, so it's saying which planets, antecedent planets. Obviously, it's not a person, and so we have to use the word that. The planets that they discussed during the lecture all orbited distant suns. Okay, so go ahead and do the next 20 of these, or 15 of these. There's 20 total. And you're deciding if it's a, well, let's just get rid of who, because that's not going to be an option, because that's not deleted. So either whom or that is deleted. If it's a person, you're probably going to use the word whom. If it's something other than a person, like planets, if the antecedent is not a person, you're going to use the word that. Okay? So good luck, and if you have questions, as always, come before or after school, and I will gladly help you out. You can also work collaborative with each other. You can also collaborate with each other and work together. Just don't copy each other, okay? Discuss what's going on. All right, well, I'll see you in the next video. Good luck.